Hello and welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I'm Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel. Feel free to like or dislike the video as you see fit, so feel free to hit those buttons. Feel free to comment below, and I would appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel and hit your notification bell for more content as it is released. You're also free to share my videos as much as you'd like, because the purpose of this channel is educational in regards to atheist and deconversion issues and any issues related to those issues. A hearty shout out to the Rabyd Nation. Join the nation by hitting that subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel in a more tangible way, hit the join button. And your membership options for citizenship in the Rabyd Nation will be presented to you. Today I want to continue on in my series of deconstructing spiritual disciplines. The purpose of this series is to help those of you that are deconstructing and reconstructing kind of find some past anchor points. The analogy that I constantly use is we have this old house that's kind of been destroyed, and our house of faith, and now we're moving into a different house of our new life and our new purposes. Is there anything that we can take from the old that'll help us rebuild the new? And so I've been dealing with the spiritual disciplines such as prayer and fasting, and I've gotten to the point where I've moved from inward disciplines like prayer and fasting to outward ones the one I'm talking about today, solitude. And I'll eventually get into service and submission and things like that. Those are a couple of the next two videos. But the whole idea here is to help those of you who are deconstructing. I know these videos don't get as many views or likes or anything as some of the rest of the things I do, but those of you deconstructing, I know they're very valuable. So thank you for continuing to watching them, because I know that these are things that help me as I deconstructed and moved on into my new life. And I'm just giving some advice. I'm no expert on deconstruction or any of that, other than I've been through it. And so these are some of the things I've learned about spiritual disciplines that I now have applied or applied in the past to help me rebuild my new life. And so here we have it. Solitude, and we're going to talk about the discipline, what it is, and then we're also going to engage how the church used it to tap into us and keep us in the faith, and then how we can still use some parts of it to help rebuild our life. And those are three things I usually address. So what is solitude? Solitude, if you read Richard Foster's book, Celebration of Discipline, and I'm using his list of disciplines, and this is number 6, solitude is the act of getting away. I think this is the one where he says he almost wanted to call it the discipline of silence. But the idea is to get away, socially away from your social circle. Do a personal retreat is probably the good example of it. But there's a lot of different ways that he proposes you can have solitude if you still have a busy life. Making that time during the day to get away, to be by yourself, okay, so that you can be alone with your thoughts and kind of calm down and things like that. Or planning a personal retreat and getting away so you can look at different aspects of your spirituality. And he, of course, is coming from the mindset that you get away so you can be alone with God, and thus hear from God better. That you get away from the busyness and the buzz of your life and really focus in on what is the center of your faith, so to speak. I remember reading this chapter and thinking to myself, man, there's a lot to this, more than what you can say in the simple ways that I've expressed it. For a person who is introverted, this is like gold, okay? It's a gold spiritual discipline, because it allows you to be a spiritual person. Now, he rightly calls it an outward discipline, because you're literally telling people you love and care for, hey, I need to get away for a bit, okay? And strangely enough, this appealed to me a lot from a Christian point of view when I was a Christian, because now I realize it's the autistic part of me that needs to get away from the stress of being with people and calming my nervous system down. But back then I was looking at it as, hey, I just need to get alone and talk with my imaginary friend. Okay, and so for those of us deconstructing, okay, what do we do with this discipline? How did it keep us in the faith, first of all? I think solitude appeals to the human desire to get away. Okay, there's times in our society, and I don't care how extroverted you are, you get to these points in your life and in being in society where you're just like, yeah, screw it. I want to go somewhere else and get away from all this and recharge. It's the idea of recharging, of, having all the things that pull your energy away from you, that use it up, that the stress, all that crap. And you just want to take a little time off. It's the whole idea of a vacation, really. And what solitude taps into is this idea of taking a vacation for the purpose of God. Now, some churches use this for like taking a small group of people away and getting alone, and they spend time alone, but they also spend time together to, talk about what they're reflecting on. And I think there's an appeal to the human desire to every once in a while, man, society stinks, this sucks, and I just want to get away for a bit and then come back to it with a new, fresh perspective. And I think it's the fresh perspective that's promised here. And it is an outward discipline because you have to tell your friends and family that, hey, I'm getting away for a while. Okay, and so people see you leave and they see you go off and do something like this. Okay, it's something that's an outward expression of your faith in the sense that you're trying to get away from it all. And some people can make this, like Richard Foster talks about, making this part of your regular weekly routine where once a week you kind of just say, sorry family, I'm going on my little personal retreat for an hour or two and getting away with God and doing that sort of thing. And that's what it taps into, this desire to get away, this desire to get a fresh perspective, to kind of pull back and then come at it, look at it with fresh eyes, that sort of thing. Now, do you need the spiritual hoo-ha with all of that? No. Okay, I think I still benefit from solitude. One, I'm single, so there's a lot of times where I'm alone with myself and my own thoughts because, that's just the nature of the beast. Trying to correct that a little bit because I think you can overdo it. And I think people that are deconverting, such as myself, and you're single, sometimes it's too much solitude. I think solitude can be overdone. And so I put out that caveat, even if you're an atheist and you think solitude can benefit from you and getting away from it all, taking the vacation can do it. Remember that we are social species, and sooner or later, even I have to go to work to socialize, okay? And I kind of need that in a certain sense, because if I don't, I lose connections with humanity, and my own humanity, for that matter. And the same is true, with my family. There's a reason why once a week I meet with part of my family for breakfast, and we spend a couple hours together. Why? Because I need the connection. There's a reason why I do all these connective things too. There's a real danger in deconverting because a lot of you will find yourself in a position with, your family, your friends, your former church, and suddenly you feel very lonely. And that's just simply the human lack of connection, okay? Because all these friends and family that you had suddenly don't talk to you anymore, okay? I know there's some of you are in very extreme situations where leaving the faith has caused you to be in solitude, not by choice, it's involuntary solitude. And that's a danger, okay, because you still need to reconnect with your fellow human beings. And introverted as I am, autistic as I am, feeling like a stranger in a strange land 90% of the time, I get my need for human connection, and so I deliberately kind of do the opposite of what solitude suggests, which is I deliberately go be social, and I need to do that a little bit more, especially if I want a lady in my life by next year. I'm probably going to have to do a little bit more of that. And it's a deliberate action on my part to do the other way. But there are many of you that the opposite is true, that you have family members that don't believe, and so it's kind of, you're deconverting, you're deconstructing in a place where you have some family and you have a busy life and maybe you have a job that's very social. And so, the thought of getting away to collect your thoughts, even as an atheist, is still very appealing. I'm going to give an example of one aspect of solitude I think that I did when I was deconstructing that I think was very beneficial to me. I think when I took my sabbatical from my church in 2016, in June of 2016, I had made the remark in my deconversion story and several other times that I got alone, and I spent a good chunk of that month hiking on the trails around here in my hometown. we have this rails to trails system where they've taken old railroad tracks and turned them into paths, and in the winter they're used for snowmobiling, and in the summer they're used by walkers, hikers, bikers, whatever. No motor vehicles can be on them, so other than in the winter when snowmobiles can be on them. And so I spent a lot of time that month walking by myself and just being alone with my thoughts, because I was processing this whole thing of, what do I even believe in God anymore? And I think in the end it was very beneficial, because I went into that kind of being sort of still a minor deist, and by the time I came out I didn't have any belief in any God whatsoever. I just didn't find the evidence for any of it convincing anymore. And I think there's that aspect. But I think also later on I had another example where I got alone, got away from my family while I was still married, and I was still dealing with a bunch of other stuff. I think I was still even in the pulpit, but I took a week off and took a week retreat from everybody. And I ended up just kind of spending a week just thinking about things and being by myself a lot, which is not unusual, if my family will tell you that. But in this particular instance, it was kind of coming to terms with no God being in it. So I think solitude can still have an advantage. Like, if you're struggling with some sort of issue in your life and the busyness of life does not really allow you to deal with it, there can be a moment where you can say, you know what, screw it. I need to get away from all this and come back with a fresh perspective. That's a very human thing. It has nothing to do with faith. You can be of any faith or no faith at all and do that. Okay, and I think that's what this taps into. We come to an innate understanding of our humanness, that every once in a while we need to get away from the social part of being a social species and kind of focus on ourselves. But in order to do that, we have to tell everybody to stay away. I think in a modern equivalent, I see a lot of people like, hey guys, I'm off social media for a week, and I'm on vacation, I'm off social media, I'm deplugging from everything because I need a week off from all of this, just to get a fresh perspective. That is the attitude of solitude. That is the this is too much for me, and I'm going to pull back. And for somebody like myself who's autistic and who has hypersensitivity issues, so when social situations happen, there's a double whammy there. There's too much going on from a sensory point of view, and I already feel weird about it anyway. So getting away from that from time to time is very helpful. Now, I get away from that a lot now, but back in the day when I still had my wife and my kids and stuff like that, even away from the Christian faith side of things, there's just this need to take a vacation. Now, one of the things that I've noted about American society, and a few other people have done research on it, is we get all this vacation time from work, but we never flip and use it. And quite frankly, it's making Americans workaholics. And I think that's why we're a lot stressed out more than a lot of other people are. A lot of other people are happier, and it's because they take their vacations. And so my recommendation, if you're deconstructing, is take your vacation time, get away for a while, get rid of all the baggage, get rid of all the worries for a while, and just focus on what you need to be. I think in a sense of reconstructing the house, I think you can take the aspect of getting away in order to help understand yourself better, and having to say, hey guys, I'm off social media, I'm off this, and I'm going to take a vacation for a week. I just want to get my head together. It's an outward discipline in that sense, in the sense that you have to, people are going, well, he's staying away from everything, that's kind of weird. No, you just have to make people realize it's not weird. And I think it's good for planning. I've noted that my solitude times become very good planning sessions for, what am I going to try to rebuild in my life next. So I think this is one of those things where if you recognize that things are getting to be a little bit too much, that planning a time, a weekly session of solitude where you get away for a couple hours, deplug for a couple hours, or just get away for a week and take your vacation, it has its benefit even for an atheist. Well, I'd be interested in hearing some of your stories about solitude, what your thoughts are about solitude as a spiritual discipline now turned into an atheist discipline. I'd be very interested in hearing some of your stories. So please make sure you give that in the comments. And if this video was in any way helpful, let me know, or if there's a question you might have, let me know that as well. And thanks once again for every like, share, and subscribe. You guys are awesome. As of the recording of this video, I'm getting very close to 3K. So thank you very much, Nation. Join that nation, hit that subscribe button, and we'll break some of our goals. Thank you very, very, very much. You guys are awesome. And as always, live your best life. You only get one go around, so make sure it's a good one. And then it's over, and there is no heaven or hell afterwards. That's a story. And so thanks for doing that. I've had a few comments about that. Sorry about that. Don't waste all that stuff on the trappings of religion and faith. Instead, give it to yourself, to the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time.